Hello, my name is George. I first moved to Australia on a permanent basis in 1995. Prior to that, I'd spent 15 and a half years in the military in the New Zealand Army. And obviously that's where I obtained my truck license and a few other licenses as well. Here in Australia, I did various amount of jobs. I started off doing security, eventually moving on to become a custodial courts officer. Left Australia in 96, at the end of 96, and headed off to England, where I stayed in London, and I lived there for a year or so, working in bars. Then I left there and went to Israel in the Middle East. There I did 3 months in the kibbutz and 3 months in the moshav. In the kibbutz, I worked in hotels, I worked on farms. In the moshav, 3 months later, I worked for a grocery department that did organic foods, and then I worked for a colonel in the Israeli Air Force, doing honey, making honey. In fact, not me making honey, but the bees were. So we used to drive around the outskirts of Israel, just below Lebanon, and the Golan Heights and the southern parts of Israel, picking up all his hives. Eventually he got called back for service, and they needed a truck driver, so I was the only one with a truck driver's license, so that was my job for about 2 months, was driving around, picking up all the hives and then taking it back to be for the production line. I left there and returned back to England for a year or so, working in bars again, which was pretty good, pretty cool. And then from there I went to the States for a couple of months, and then I flew back to New Zealand because I had no money, so I had to go back there to work, which I did. I then returned to Australia, got a job working in the meat industry. I then worked in the maintenance department while I was there in the meat industry. And eventually, later on in 2006, I was given an adult apprenticeship, and that was as a fitter and turner. Once I completed that, I left there and then worked for a lot of different companies, doing maintenance fitter or mechanical fitter. My last permanent job was working for Mitchell's Quality Foods. That was light and easy from 2014 to 2016. And then after that, I worked for a whole lot of different companies, and my last truck driving job was in January of this year, where I worked for Superior Pat for about a month. Then I then got other small jobs, and so that's been it since then. Yes, so it's entirely up to you how you feel. And yes, I've driven lots of different types of trucks, from Mercedes-Benz 22, 28s, Unimogs, Le Mans, and a Mack. And my last one was obviously one's working at Superior Pat. So entirely up to you. Thank you.